What's up, everybody? Got a big surprise here. Just received the package from Solar Performance right here in Alabama. So go ahead and take this stuff out. Got some instructions here. Oh my God. Holy moly. I mean, Solar Performance. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Some of the best ported throttle bodies. This thing, I'll talk some more about it here in the video. Let's go ahead and get it unwrapped. So let's not only appreciate what this thing looks like, but also the packaging. I mean, you saw how well it was packaged in the box itself. Sealed up. Keep moisture and stuff out. Oh my gosh. Look at this. They have little divots here. Man. Nice profile. It's got these slots cut in the upper portion. Look at this blade. AT4, 91mm effective. Solar Performance's logo. Even the blade is chamfered at the top and bottom. On the sides has been chamfered a little. This thing is 100% engineered. This is not just a ported throttle body. They re-engineer this throttle body and how the air flows through it. They do extensive testing on these things. This ain't just something that your granddaddy took a grinder to and poured and polished it old school style. They actually went and checked the airflow characteristics of this throttle body, and most of your performance is done between right here at like 5 or 6%, and I believe, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 60 to 70% throttle opening. This flows over double, I believe, of what the factory throttle body does. Now, wide open throttle is just a little bit bigger than the factory throttle body is. They don't really bore as much out as some other do, but they do widen this opening up and change this throttle blade out. You see half of the throttle blade piece here is gone. On the other half here has been cut. The edges are chamfered on it. On the back side, they've got, I mean, this isn't by accident. These are things that are engineered. I had one of their ported throttle bodies on my ZL1 Camaro, if any of you guys were around when I had the ZL1. So I reached out to them again once I got this truck. And this is, you know, some things have changed. The chamfers on the side here, the way that they engineered and cut the front part of the shaft. I believe on that one it was a half shaft. The chamfer on the blade looks different. This port design up here looks like it's a little bit different, the way they cut the ports in. And this is definitely different because it was just a half shaft on the back as well. And all this wasn't there. So let's bring y'all in for some close-ups to this throttle body. Look at the design here. All this stuff's on purpose. It's engineered this way. I mean, the attention to detail. I mean, who else makes a product like this? That's not only just ported and polished like normal, but is engineered on a flow bench by real people with engineering degrees. The guys that work here at Solar Performance are not just your average guys, you know. They're engineers. They're masters in their field. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Let's get this thing on the truck. So, like I said in other videos, if you don't have some of these plastic tools, you need to get you some. They're not very expensive. So for the first thing I'm gonna do is disconnect this mass airflow sensor, get behind this red clip, slightly pull it up. Once you get it up, it kind of clicks, and then you can push this release here. Once you've got this release pushed, you pull that out, put it somewhere where it's not gonna get damaged. Flathead screwdriver. Loosen this up. Okay, so on this side, you're gonna have to disconnect this PCV hose. I went over that in the other video I got for this UPR catch can. It's an awesome video. Go check it out if you haven't already. But you'll just push in on this clip and disconnect this. Some of this stuff's kind of hard to do with one hand. Pretty simple. All right. Then on the other side here, I'm gonna go ahead with my flathead screwdriver and get to that clamp right there that goes onto the throttle body and loosen that up. So once you get this clamp back here loosened up, what you're gonna wanna do, take this off and then wiggle this and pull back towards you to get it off of the throttle body. Then just rotate this bad boy up. That's all I'm gonna do. Now you can access your bolts on the throttle body. Looks like they're probably 10 millimeter. I'm gonna try it out. Yep, 10 millimeter fits it quite nicely. Don't flame me in the comments for using metric stuff. Once I get them loose, I'll just take my socket. Be careful, man. Y'all don't want to drop this. I kind of have my own order when messing with throttle bodies and stuff. Take this bottom one, both bottom ones all the way out first, to where it's not going to fall when you take them out. That way you got control. Because trust me, I've dropped bolts down into vehicles before, and it ain't fun to try to retrieve them or find them, especially when it's a bolt like this that you don't just want to go out to the parts store. And I guarantee you Chevrolet probably wants $6, $7 for one of these doggone things. Oh, and don't lose your socket either. Well, to help with that, put an extension on the back of your socket. If you think you're gonna drop it, that'll help you hold on to the socket. All right, so this one is off of here. That one kind of held on, so I'll take it out like this. So now you have this connector here to deal with. You just press down on the, or pull back, there we go. Pull back on the plastic piece here, the gray piece. Then you can push down on it and pull out the connector. And it's off. And because I know some people's gonna be interested to look at it, there is some oil down in there. I ran this truck for, I want to say 500 miles or so with no catch can on it. So it's really not that bad. I might try to wipe some of that stuff up in there. It looks like this truck has a pretty good intake on it. All right, let's get to the bin. Okay, so real quick before I get started on throttle bodies here, couldn't help myself. I had to stick a towel down into the intake there. I mean, it just looked wet, but I guess it's just the plastic shiny, because I scraped around in there with this towel. And I mean, those two spots are the only two spots that anything, I rubbed it all around in there, went back behind the lip. I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, it looked like there was more in there. But anyway, like I said, only 500 miles without a catch can, so probably wouldn't be that bad. Let's move on to these throttle bodies. Clear differences here. Like, look at the lip on this. That throttle response issue that a lot of people have with all these vehicles, and they want these throttle controllers. A lot of it is this. Is the bottom, there's a small lip here. On the aftermarket one here, that lip's almost all the way smoothed out. They didn't do away with it completely like some do, but they did smooth it all out. But like I said, this is an engineered throttle body. They don't just hog off material and stuff like that. They try to optimize flow and smooth out the flow. That's something that nobody else really does. Moving it to the back, again, obvious differences. The shaft design and all is way different. I'm gonna turn them the same direction, so. Shaft design is different. You got the chamfered edges to smooth out airflow right off of idle, where a lot of people have jerky throttle motion in these vehicles. Camaros are the same way. Much better, much better. And that engraving, I know nobody ever see it, but it just makes me feel better that it's there. I mean, look at that. It's crazy. Here we are on the truck. And by the way, since I almost dropped my socket a minute ago, I went ahead and put the extension on it, took my own advice. So what we're gonna do, the way it goes on, it's just like this. Put that top one in first. And just get started. I'll run it up till it barely touches. Let the throttle body hang. Put this one in till it barely touches as well. Hold it like this, get into the hole, get it run down. This is where I might differ than some people. Some people say you should never open a throttle body up like this, and where I would tend to agree most of the time, this is one occasion where I would open it up. And it seems like this is centered up almost perfectly. You just don't want it to slam shut. There's a stopper there, and you don't want it to slam shut. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish tightening this right here up. Do it in a cross pattern just like this, and once I get everything hand tight, I'll come back and snug them with the ratchet. So I got them run down. Be careful with a huge ratchet like this. You screw it into brass certs in a plastic intake, okay? I always go just a little at a time. And this, you're just snugging it up. There's an O-ring that's in there. They don't have to be super tight. You just want it tight enough to where they're not gonna vibrate or loose, okay? The O-ring's gonna seal it up. You don't need no gasket maker, nothing like that. It's simple. Once it snaps back in, take your gray clip, and push the gray clip back up into position like what it was when you started. Now, you just rotate this back down. Once you get it rotated down, you'll have to reach underneath this and on top and line up the boot with the throttle body itself, okay? So that takes two hands. It's gonna be hard to film, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get the clamps tightened back down. Just to show you guys, got this clamp on, tightened down. This clamp here is on, tightened down. Step around to the other side here. You take your PCV hose, get it slipped back over the top, push it in until it clicks. There we go. I always pull back, make sure it's on there. Don't forget your mass airflow sensor. Plug it back in, get it clicked, push your red tab. Make sure it's plugged back in properly. And there it is. It is complete. Okay, so here's some of the instructions that Solar sends in. Again, we just went over the install for this particular truck. This is a 21 GMC Sierra AT4 with a 6.2 liter. But they give colored instructions. And even though it's on a different vehicle, it gets the same idea done. It's pretty much the same steps. But what we're interested in is down here towards the bottom, okay? After you've connected your battery terminal. If you disconnected it, I rarely disconnect mine for stuff like this. I know it's recommended, I just don't do it. So you take your own precautions in that. So what you'll do is first time, turn the ignition on. What I like to do is turn the ignition on without touching the brake first, get it all on, let the gauges do the sweep, and that initializes the throttle body. Let's say open, close, make sure that there's no physical obstructions in there, because if there is, it'll tell you right off the bat. It'll throw a code on the dashboard for you and let you know. All right, so once that's done, I'll put my foot on the brake, press the start button again, let it crank up, and let it idle for 3 minutes. You want to let it idle for 3 minutes. Then it says ignition off for 1 minute. I do the same 3 minutes there. They have determined that 1 minute is long enough. I like to go a little beyond that just to make sure. My 3 minutes often turns into 5 minutes. Like on the ZL1 and stuff, that's what I did. All right, repeat steps 8 and 9, one more. So you want to do that again. And then you turn the ignition on, crank the car, you drive normally at 44 miles per hour greater to allow the vehicle to decelerate and stop. So you do not want to just hop in this thing and go do test pulls in it as soon as you put it on. You could throw a code because it's getting so much more airflow, especially in the lower RPMs. The ECM has to learn that it's getting more airflow and make adjustments. Go somewhere in the truck, okay? Make it a 20 or 30 mile one-way trip. Park it, let it sit for about 30, 45 minutes to an hour and cool down a little bit. Crank the truck back up, drive the thing back home the same way, stopping at stoplights, stop, go, getting down to idle, set your cruise, maybe do about half throttle acceleration on it and let it get used to that a couple times. Go home, park the truck in your driveway or garage, let it sit there for a few more hours, and the next time you crank it up, I say she's good to go. Solar, they're going to be extra cautious on this. They recommend you follow this. That's why they wrote it down on a piece of paper and gave it to you. I just give my own information or my own opinion on how I do things, okay? So you make your own decisions of which one you want to do. All right, so I really thought about this after the fact. I'd really like to show you this process. So it's kind of cut in here, but foot off the brake, and you just press the start button and hold it. Hold the start button in. You keep holding it until everything comes on. That's how you get ignition on. There you go. You can let it go. Driver one features, blah, 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 blah. Let everything get initiated. Turn it back off. One more hit of the start button. And that's without putting your foot on the brake. Now I put my foot on the brake, tap the start button, crank it up. Now it's got a lot more airflow to get used to now, especially around idle. So it's good that it's a cold start. That's what you want. You want to try to get used to it right now, where it's high idling, and it's a very cold start inside of my garage here. I've got this air conditioner unit. I think I had it set on like 69 in here while I was working. So you might notice the idle fluctuate just a little bit for your first trip or two. Your truck's got to learn this throttle body, okay? I'm gonna let this thing run for its 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna join the video back up here. Been the 3 minutes, okay? Truck's been sitting here idling. Go ahead. Yeah, seems good. Returns back to idle quickly, does what it's supposed to. All right, we'll shut it off. Get out of it. Let it sit for the same 3 minutes is what I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna crank it back up and repeat that and let it idle for another 3 minutes. Then I'm gonna go take my drive, all right? So that's what you do. Install complete. You can see I gotta have buckets here to get up to this giant ass truck, but that is Solar Performance engineer ported throttle body on the 6.2 GMC Sierra 2021 AT4. Love this truck. There'll be plenty more videos to come. Oh yeah, I got tents too. I do not have windshield tint. I really don't like windshield tint. If I did get it, it would be the clear ceramic for heat rejection, and it would be clear. I I don't like tinted windshields. I didn't go extremely dark on the side windows, even though I could do whatever I want, apparently, according to this House bill in the state of Alabama. I just wanted to match the rear windows, so I just went 20% on the front to match the rears. And y'all have a great one. Thanks everybody for watching. Remember sharing these videos, liking and commenting on them down below, telling your friends about them, posting them up in these Facebook pages and stuff really helps us grow. Every channel suffers when they change vehicles and change genre, and I suffered myself. I'm getting extremely low view counts right now. If you would, please help a brother out. Get my view counts up. I try to put out great content. You can check out some of my other stuff on other cars that I've done. This is my first truck. If you want to decide whether or not, to share this with your friends and I make good videos. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm out.